Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's Mary Cronert here from the Living Room Community Art Studio with another Tuesday live stream artist chat. So happy to be here because this is actually a take two for us. We are chatting with an artist today that we wanted to talk to, near the beginning of the new year, and we had technical difficulties and it just couldn't happen. But we're so thrilled that this artist and maker and fabulous human being is back again to talk with us, to chat about all things art, but also art and like almost, you know what, this person, this human being, this extraordinary creator, I see as a person who really knows how to make do with what's at hand. You know, we talk about that phrase all the time, making do with what we have, and, but what does it mean? This artist walks the walk and talks to the talk when it comes to that. They are not only an extraordinary treasure finder, they are someone who upcycles, who repurposes as a part of their daily creative practice. And I can't imagine them walking through the world in any other way, thinking anything other than, that's an interesting piece of something there. How can I use that? Oh, I see the potential in that. I know what I can create with that. Today we are talking with the one and only Laura Brown of By LB. And I'm so happy. Fingers crossed, we practiced this to make sure it would work this time. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Let's invite Laura Brown on right now so we can get started with this chat. Okay, here goes. Here goes. Hey folks, it's happening, right? It's happening. Laura, are you there? Ah!
I'm here. I wanted my phone. Oh, it does work? No, I'm so crooked. My cat kept knocking it over. I had it all set up, but that's okay.
Oh, cats. Well, do you want to take a moment to sort of like rebuild?
Let me just see if I can get this set up on here.
That's okay. I can chat. I can have a sip of coffee.
I don't have a, well, I have a stand, but I want to plug it in. Oh, well, if the battery goes, that's okay.
Are you sure? We can, like just the top of your head there.
I know.
Plug it in. It's all good. It's all good.
But it won't sit properly then.
You know what I use in a pinch? Like if you don't have a big stack of books, if you have a good board game, like a big chunky box, like a board game box, we don't mind. I can even call you back. The important is now we see you. We know we can chat with you.
Oh, we know we're here. We're good. Hold on.
Okay. And in the meantime, we can look at the beautiful background. How colorful.
I know. Local art. Well, hey, you're in my bedroom. Here, I'll sit me up higher.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. See? A cushion. Perfect. Now, if the cat will knock it over, we'll be good. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is pretty exciting.
This means a lot to me. You were one of the very, very first, along with Kevin and like a few other folks out there. You were one of the very first people who started coming out to our pop-up art hives many years ago. So before we had the studio space, before
Kevin, Sam, yeah.
Right? Sam.
And all those people they're still around. It's wonderful that we can still connect.
Yeah. So you were there at the beginning. We used to invade, I don't know if folks know this, but We Grow Food, Carol from We Grow Food used to have a restaurant called The Table, fabulous restaurant. And when they closed on Sunday afternoons, Carol would just let us take over and basically trusted a group of weirdo artists that she didn't really know. She just said, make some art and just, make sure it's locked when you leave. And that's where we'd gather. That's how the Living Room Art Hive started, by popping up at a restaurant in the community by another, Carol. One day I got to interview Carol too, but we'll get to that.
Yes, he's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh. You were there in the very beginning.
And grateful for it. It was a nice escape, especially with a little one. Like Emily was 2.5, I think, when we started. She was tiny. And the first time she just sat there for 2 hours and painted. It was amazing. Yeah. Get her occupied on something. And she's still like that. If she gets focused on something, she's good. Oh, the cat.
That's, well, one of the things I loved about, when I think back to those days and you and Emily coming. Oh, oh, oh.
Sorry, that was the cat. And we're back. Oh.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Yeah, one of the things I loved about you and Emily coming to the group was that you were both, even though Emily was so young and like you as a young mother as well, you worked so well together.
Thanks.
You just, it was almost like art was already such a huge part of your life that it felt very natural to gather with other people, sit around a table and create. Reminds me, before I get kind of sidetracked with chatting with you, maybe this is a great opportunity for you to introduce yourself to the community and who you are and what you do, in case there are folks out there who haven't met Laura before.
Possibly.
Oh.
The cat's going to be an issue, I think, but yeah, it's okay. I might have to lock her out. Yeah, well, I've been creating since I was for 40 years now, over 40 years, like since I was little. And my mom had a Kleenex box on top of the fridge with centers of tape and old spools and anything else that she just saw that was interesting. She'd throw it in this box, and on rainy days, that's what we would do. So I have my first piece that I collaged when I was like 5, and she had a bunch of kids come over into the basement, and that's what she said. It was in the basement, so all the mess was there, and we did little collages. It's a chipmunk on a piece of board, but I grew up with it, so I think that's why I've always stuck with it. The collage, found things, and making do with what you have. It's just kind of the way I was raised, and I'm happy to be doing that with Emily, and she loves it too. So it's but me, yeah, sorry, I'm not talking about me. I love collage, fabric, paper, buttons, found things. I love to sew, and just, yeah, from things that I find. I'm not of a I don't get stuck on one thing as well, which sometimes I wish I was just a painter or a writer, but it makes life interesting, and it makes it more interesting, I think, with kids too.
Well,
Yeah.
I would definitely describe you as a multidisciplinary artist, I think, because there's not one creative area that, at least when we've shared space at the studio, there's not one creative area that I've found or seen that you haven't taken to, that you don't already have a history in like a hand, kind of that hand sense of like, oh yeah, I know how to work with that. You just have, or well, figure out. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I adore about how you create and who you are, but we can get to all of them in time. Can I start with, okay, there's one thing I'm so jealous of, and that is somehow this magical ability you have to find extraordinary things.
I don't know. I've just always got my eyes open for something. I went, maybe the way my brain works, I think. If I'm looking for something, I can find it. When I was beachcombing with a friend of mine, working for Beach Glass primarily, and I was finding hagstones and pieces of pottery and little pieces of metal, and she's like, how did you find this? I'm just looking for it. She has to focus. So if she's looking for glass, she has to look for glass. If she wants to find hagstones, but I've kind of got my feelers out for everything, the big picture of what's out there, and what people need maybe when it comes to finding things. Yeah, it's and not wanting to waste something as well, so which is really important to me, and that reusing things and recycling, if you can just reuse it for something as well in your art, all those little found things.
Oh my goodness, yeah, you are like, you see the world in such a creative way that most of, like, so many of the most interesting supplies we have at the living room, or had at the studio and now have in storage, and some have come from you, because there's something about the way you see the world, and you see these things. Other people may see garbage, other people might see clutter. You see something unique. Everything from those cardboard rings that you brought.
Everybody does. I'm still collecting them for the school. Yeah.
Like cardboard rings, pieces of fabric. You seem to stumble across things at the side of the road more than any other human I know. Everything from furniture
For
to,
a truck. It's out there. We'll find one. Yeah.
yeah.
And what I loved about the living room was coming back weeks later and then seeing something I'd brought in made into something that I would never have thought of.
Mm.
Is really it was really satisfying just to see things being used and how people would um, translate it into art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any one thing that stands out in your memory? Any one experience of seeing something that someone had created?
Um, there was I think it was a finial for something,
Mm.
and I think it was it was a little brass finial. It might have been either a topper for a draft pull or for an award. It might have been a Boy Scout award or something, but it was a little camper with a little tree beside it and a tent, and somebody put it on a rock and made this whole little diorama with it. It was amazing. I think I really love that one the best. That was one that sticks out in my head.
So many
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, so many things.
So,
Hmm.
and all the like the different passions you have kind of collide with this sense of, as you were saying, like making sure that everything that can find a purpose finds its purpose. It's not
Hmm.
just about making something look beautiful. You also, the way you live and how you surround yourself seems to be very artful as well.
Yeah, I try. You know, again, with the way I was raised and just wanting to see our world a better place and things that have landfill. And with yeah, the my art colliding, I got been collaging for a while and working with fabric, and then it's like, well, what if I put them together? So I've got a few pieces now that actually have fabric and found items, buttons, and that sort of thing, keys. Those are really fun. But yeah, reusing something, um, that's what, yeah, makes me happy for sure. Seeing how you can do something differently.
So perhaps we can talk about that a little bit because right now we're all, I mean, depending on where you are in the world watching or where you are in Canada watching, we're all in, sort of struggling, isolating, keeping ourselves safe as much as possible, limiting our travel and our interaction with others as much as we can to keep one another safe.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that also means we're not necessarily um, seeking out the same kind of supplies or having the opportunity to get the same kind of supplies we usually do.
For
What are
sure.
what are some of the ways you've been creating and coping during this time with the things you have around you?
I've got a lot of stuff already. So using, yeah, for, I think for me it might be a little easier sometimes, but even I finally, it's been 2 years I've been wanting to do it, and I finally did some paper mache, and it's a work in progress still. It's not finished yet,
Yeah.
but that's just old newspaper and flour and some water, and that's all you need. You don't even need a base to start with. You could start with like a paper towel holder or something. I used a little box that I had, a little divided box that I had rescued from somewhere. And so things like that are really wonderful. You can find things in your kitchen. There's a ton of different ideas, if you just Google them. Pinterest, get lost on that. But that's what I've been doing, sort of what I have with what I have. So collage and pen and paper. I was doing some Zentangle this past week. I got back into it. It's been a while since I've done that too. It's been stress with work. I work at Canadian Tires, so we're open to the public again, and I think that's brought my stress level up a bit.
Mm.
I've been okay; it's not been bad, but the Zentangle is really good. Finding those things that are at this time in our world that are really just calming and can just you can sort of forget about everything else as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah,
I,
but it's good. Okay.
I forget about the Zen Doodle or Zen Tangle or, those things until that moment where I'm just sitting and I've got my pen in hand. And I think we all do that, don't we? I mean,
Yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
Zentangle comes, it's just a fancy name for intentional doodling.
Which I grew up doing. I got sheets of paper from when I was in high school. My binders, they were all covered with doodles. And yeah, it's just sort of an extension of that, which is wonderful. And I really do enjoy it, creating those patterns. It's really good. for sure. Yeah.
And
I'm glad it was invented.
the fancy name. I suppose that it matters. Like there's a difference between doodling unconsciously and then choosing to doodle. I imagine that's where, that comes from, just to enter it into more mindfully. But yeah, it's funny. During this time too, I found myself reaching back to like those themes and symbols and designs that, like you, I was a huge doodler. There were times where I should have been sitting in church listening to a sermon, for example, and I was just drawing away in the margins of the program or something like that. And
Yeah.
those symbols are coming back now, like swirls and hearts. I find them like it's like some kind of comfort place.
A lot of hearts. You love the hearts. I do start with swirls. It's funny. But
Mhm.
yeah, Emma loves it too. Whenever I'm out, I go to the thrift store or yard sale and I see a notepad, like a drawing pad, I pick them up because she fills them up with her drawings. She's taken to after bedtime when she's supposed to have the light off. I'll go downstairs and the light comes on and she's drawing, which I'm not going to stop. It's just a half an hour, mom. But I was always a reader, but she's much more of a drawer than I was. So yeah, it's wonderful. Hi, Thomas. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, then this reminds me because Thomas Given Artworks. I hope I got that right. So I hope we can see each other at a future show. You
Mhm.
also, again, you demonstrated with us when you came out to support the living room and be a part of that community. You are a huge supporter of local arts and local makers.
Mhm.
And you're in a community where you are right now.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I can give you a tour. I've got some pieces.
We love a good tour. Yes, please. Okay, let's see it.
Victoria, we can see it. Victoria Cowan's um, little watercolor. She works with the Art Gallery in Northumberland. That's Emily's. Did that at the living room years ago. That's the needs I found. And Emily. Local art is so important, which is this is from our a candlelight walk with critical mass is a buffalo head that I made. But we've got Kevin on the wall and some other ones you might recognize.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, awful camera work. There's Kev. Yeah, and Mercury.
Yep.
You see Mercury there. There she is. And Margaret. There's
Margaret.
Margaret.
Oh,
Margaret
wow.
as well. So I've been filling up my room with local artists, it seems. There are other places in the house as well, but this is I'm starting to cover the walls in here, make it more personal.
The
More,
piece
more
the piece behind you, the fuchsia purple, the magenta piece.
oh, yeah. That was a thrift find. It's from 70, what was it? I thought I had a date on it. From the 70s, though. It's got a name on it. Somebody did that, and it's just, I saw it, and I have to have that. And I think that's where all the pink started in my room, because before it wasn't very pink, lots of blues and greens,
Yeah.
and pink's kind of taken over. But yeah, I love it. I love them. I've done some cruel. I usually rescue them from the thrift stores that are half done, and I've finished up two or three of them now. I've got another big one that I'm working on that I haven't finished, but I will one day.
See, that's such an
Yeah.
interesting thing too. And I don't know if people think about when they see like a half finished embroidery kit or something like that. And there's so much potential there. You don't have to finish it in the same way that it was started. You can have some fun and make it your own.
True. There's been a lot of that with embroideries going a little more irreverent, and yeah, there's cursing, not just cursive. Yeah, I love those. I think they're really good, really good.
I do too. I love that.
Using your own, making it your own, and a lot of kits you can do that. People will get kits, but you can change things. It doesn't have to be what art doesn't have to be what people tell you it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Emily, I got a story about her. She was doing one of those paint-alongs at Brownies or Guides. I think it was Guides. And she was making it really textured. And they're like, no, nice, paint it like this, right? And she's like, no. And she continued on how she wanted. And I love it, the effect that she got with the snow. It was a camping scene, so like a tent, a tree, and I can't remember if it was snow or not, but the grass. it was just really textured, not just a smooth acrylic. She really had fun with it. And yeah, I'm glad that she's really experimenting with things for sure. Yeah.
Well, I feel, I mean, what do I know? But I suspect, I wonder if Emily is able to do that because she's seen you do that, or because she's been raised in that way where there's permission to explore and express herself how she wants to rather than just replicating what someone else has done.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I've had a bit of influence on her, but she has her own ideas, I think.
Does.
Yeah, she definitely has her own ideas of what she wants to do. Um, and she does like different mediums as well. She's doing a lot of plasticine lately.
Mm.
For a boy on her bus, she made this little plasticine. I haven't shared it yet, but maybe I asked her if I could, and she said I could. So I will share that one. It's really sweet. It's her and him, and they're just friends, Mom. That's it. They're just friends, and they're in front of a Christmas tree. This whole little plasticine thing. And she did Dragon for a Boy last year, and now she's been drawing little books. There's girls on the school bus, these little kids that love her drawings. So I stapled together. I sewed them together. You can sew paper, which is one of my favorite things to do. I sewed these little booklets together, and she's doing little coloring books for them. So she's just going off on her own and doing her own thing right now. It's amazing, you know, that she's doing these things without any encouragement, really.
I don't know about that. I think there, I mean, I think you are such a huge force. And you know why I think that? Because you are such an inspiring force for other people like me in the community. So what we see Emily doing is a direct, I think, result or response to that kind of environment. The encouraging presence that you provide for her, because you provide it for us too.
The living room was always like that, though. It was just so welcoming and, you know, so open to ideas that other people had. And, you know, it was like, what do we want to do today? And the workshops. I missed the workshops. I love the online, like I love Wednesdays and the new Thursday nights. I've done one, just working along with people. And I think a lot of people do miss that. The loneliness factor that's going on right now for a lot of people are feeling, and it's good. It's so good that you can do this. So thank you.
Well, we try, and we're trying to rebuild the workshops into it's a funny thing. Like during this time, there's no shortage, I think, of activities to do online. I think there's opportunities, just as many as there were before. But sometimes I think just the energy it takes to get yourself into a Zoom room with someone. At the end of the day, so many things that we're dealing with that we forget we're dealing with because things kind of feel normal in some ways. Like we're still doing everything that we have to do.
Mm-hmm. And you just do it.
You just do it.
Yeah. And don't stop and think sometimes that you need to recharge yourself. I do. I realize that. And sometimes I don't. But right now, I think I do. And it's just that time in my life when I am, you know, okay, well, I need to do this, this, and this, but you know, let's go play in the snow. You know, I was going to get something done on Tuesday, and it was a snow day, and it's like, well, I'm going to spend time with Emily because I can, because I want to, right?
Yeah.
To right now, she's 10. I can't believe she's 10 now, but
10?
10. I know. Who knew? She was a little bean with a lampshade on her head.
Our first ever fundraiser. I remember that. It's one of my favorite photos ever.
Yeah. Are we going to be doing is there anything in the works right now for any virtual fundraisers?
You know what? It's beginning to percolate. There's a fundraiser coming up that Danny Crosby has created, and it will be through her class in a wonderful magazine that we have in Durham Region called Wonderlit. And it will be a little fundraiser to help support the mobile studio, which we're really excited about. So people can donate. And once that's out, we'll share it. We'll spread the word. Like, you know,
wonderful. That's exciting.
Yeah. But one of the things I miss is, just revisiting the secret art sale days and when, you know, people bringing their work together and showcasing all the fabulous creativity we had. And you were always such a huge part of those sales. And And those were also interesting
Mhm.
sales because people would contribute work. There's a lot of folks watching right now who contributed work.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that I even heard, like I would hear feedback from time to time, people asking, when's the next secret art sale going to be? Because people used it as an opportunity to get themselves back into creating if they hadn't made anything in a long time. Or if
Mhm.
perhaps, like you were saying, like it's one thing if you have focused and chosen to be a professional artist of some kind, but that doesn't mean you only ever just do that one thing. And sometimes you can miss out on all the other ways of creative,
Mhm.
of playing and expressing yourself, those are. So we'd have artists who were, cinematographers who would create beautiful watercolors. We'd have graphic novelists who
Mhm.
would experiment with embroidery, like embroidery. And it was
Mhm.
just this fabulous excuse for people to make something fun. And because it was a secret sale and you didn't put your name on the front of it, it gave
Mhm.
folks this freedom. So this is a long, long way of saying I'm beginning to play with the idea of a fundraiser, some kind of online fundraiser again, depending on
Mhm.
what mobile studio is at, where we can showcase people's work and have some fun. And again, there's a lot of need, and right now I don't think it's,
Mhm.
financially, I think everyone's struggling in some way or other. Like you might have a secure job right now, but maybe I think all of us, there's this concern in the back of our minds, like, what if things
Mhm.
change again? What if something, you know,
Absolutely.
right? So
Mhm.
just little bits, because every little bit counts. So we'll find a way. Yeah, we'll find a way to get back into that, but it'll be gentle. It will be fun. That has to be the priority. It has to be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or else, yeah, not worth
Mhm.
it if it ain't enjoyable, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. And self-care. They take a lot of work to do those
Mhm.
factors, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Why? Have you got any ideas? Are you thinking of anything that
Not right now. Oh no, but I was just, yeah, it just popped into my head.
yeah. I look forward to those. I look forward to certain things coming back. I look forward to being out and
Yeah.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. It's on its way coming.
Mhm. For sure. For sure.
Yeah. But the self-care in the meantime, sounds like you've been exploring or trying to find balance yourself with, how to take care of yourself and keep
Mm.
creative.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of things I haven't been doing just because of time or
Mm,
energy. So that's why just to do something small,
mm,
um, I find is, or those projects that I've had in the back burner for a long time. And you keep thinking, okay, well, I need to do something today. What can I do that I can get done today or over the weekend? Just those small little things. Like the beach pottery that I had that I finally glued onto a board. I painted it and glued it on, and it was like building a mosaic, or with collage, but with pottery, right? Making things fit together,
mm.
um, and those little things that are, I don't know, you just where you feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
Um, I've been doing a lot of that around the house, with little updates, changing lights and things like that. And I've got painting to do in the spring, but yeah, I'm planning a lot of those and things for the garden. And are you? Oh no, I guess we're not going to be doing any gardening.
Not the same way, but I'm
No.
going to be having, I think, one of the Wednesday live streams. um, definitely
Yep.
going to be doing some seed starting for sure.
Out in your garden would be lovely. We have a new community garden starting up around the corner from us, which is really wonderful. Yes, Penny Nut Brown, Emily's senior kindergarten teacher. She's an amazing woman, and she's retired, but now she's doing so much more in the community, with
Mm,
the local church, and she has these Zoom Narnia meets that I've been following along what the kids are doing, and they're wonderful. But getting out into the community garden will be wonderful.
mm.
Um, I've, I've got, Hi, Penny, if you're watching, I have some 4x4s for you to help build that I picked up on the side of the road, and I've used them for my side garden. But now I have extras that I don't think I'm going to use. So, yeah, um, Penny is the mind behind the community. Uh, what day was it? The Repair Cafe, that was so wonderful. And we're talking about sewing machines. That was one of the things I went there for the day and sewed up people's stuffies and pants and pockets on their jackets, and it was just so wonderful. I sat beside this woman who was another generation older than me, and she sat there and darned and knitted all day sweaters and did little repairs like that. And she was, it was amazing. She was asking me questions, it, but she was so skilled. You know, it was a great learning experience for me too, to be with these other creative people who can, you know, sharpen knives and rewire lamps. And it was just, it's a great thing to reuse something as well, to repair it instead of just tossing in the landfill. So Penny was, it was an amazing day. We did a lot of good work that day.
Yeah.
So going forward with the living room, I'm there. If you want to do a repair cafe, it's going to be a great thing. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know, I'm going to do a cafe. As soon as the mobile studio is up, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, popping up in different locations and being able to host that kind of creative talent.
Yeah.
Because it's something we never really got a chance to do at the living room proper because it was so busy with other things. I'm looking forward to being able to focus on certain things. And one of the things I love whenever, I mean, it happens naturally in any art hive, but being able to focus on, you know, what is the skill, the share, the secret knowledge that you possess that you might not recognize as knowledge or as an art form, but yeah, like that exact thing, showing up and being able to sit down and mend or sew or fix sewing machines, or, you know, helps people. Like, there's so many different ways we can help one another and be a resource to one another. And I love how repair cafes highlight that. You've always been at the forefront of that. At the studio, offering to help people, always assisting, you know, sharing your knowledge, your skills with everyone, but always from such a humble place, such a joyful, humble place. I love it so much.
It just feels good to help. It really does. To teach somebody something, that each one teach one. Those are always just so wonderful. Pulled out Sam's little booklet of, you know, for the birds this winter, right, with Emily. And yeah, there's so many things I have that I learned from the living room and that I brought with me out here to Port Hope. So it's, yeah, and our community, there's things like that around here too. A lot of great artists that I've met and become friends with. And yeah, it's just a good feeling to help out. It really is.
How, when you moved out there, because we miss you so much in Oshawa. You only live a street over for me, so I feel a little. But the new community you found, again, so creative. There, it seems like maybe, I don't want to say more creative than Oshawa, but I feel like it's a little more visible than it tends to be in our city.
It's a smaller area. It's a little bit tighter out here, I think, not so spread out. So you can just walk through, and like the downtown's very small. So you're just up off Walton, and there's, you know, houses and your neighbors, and there's a lot of things going on in storefronts as well, like the spaces. I'm sorry, I've lost the name of it. The you know the one I'm talking about with Steve.
Oh,
I know.
Folks who are watching, what's that? The festival that happened.
Yeah.
I'll yell it out before it ends. It'll pop.
Well, but there's things like that pop up around here as well with empty fronts. You know, beautiful displays, and in businesses as well. So it's you see it year round though. It's not a yearly thing. It's just there's constantly things popping up around, and little art galleries. Just you see it everywhere, and it's just, yeah, it's really good. Critical mass is a great force behind a lot of it too. So
can you tell us a little bit about them? What, like, about critical mass and what they do?
They create so many community events. Like the most recent one was yesterday or the day before. They started it, and snow sculptures. They started down in the town park, down at the band shell, and built some snow sculptures. And they've put up gallery signs with these beautiful descriptions, and it's amazing. It just, you know, it's more than a snowman, right? But there's snow people as well, which is really fun. It's a good twist on something that we're already doing, right? But it pushes you a little bit more too, not just to build a snowman. Just some really creative pieces that I've been seeing. So yeah, things like that. And they've bringing in artists in residence, and it all happened when COVID hit. So it was virtual. The Queer Mummer from Newfoundland was, I believe, the first one, and they were wonderful. You know, I learned to do a granny square. So he crochets. So they're doing bringing a lot of art to Port Hope, and with community involvement and workshops, shadow puppets, and those beautiful paper mache, the whale, and my buffalo, things like that. So they do bring a lot of togetherness to the community and excitement. They did a giant water slide down Walton, which I didn't try it, but yeah, we had it here a couple of years ago. It was amazing. That was the first thing I heard about what they were doing. So yeah, they're good.
Why do you think it is in some communities art seems to take more of a central like place as opposed to others? What do you think it is about Port Hope that makes such a creative, vibrant place to be?
I'm not sure. I didn't know it when I was moving here, what I would find. It was proximity to work, and this is where it was affordable. We just wanted to get out of the city, even though there was so much good in Oshawa. I needed some more small town closeness. Yeah, for sure. So I think that might be, I don't know, it's just a slower pace for sure. And I think they've always had a lot of creative people here. The unofficial motto is keep it weird. So Port Hope, keep it weird. Yeah.
I love that motto. That's my motto as well. Keep it weird, Mary. Keep it weird.
Yeah.
I don't have to work too hard though, so I'm lucky.
No, it just happens naturally here.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a combination of that when we give ourselves time to create, because I think things don't always happen right away, and things, whenever we focus on trying to do something because we should, because we must, it gets complicated, right? It's like,
more difficult. Yeah, when you're making art, especially, I think, for the shows and things like that. And I stopped making art just for myself. It became difficult sometimes, a little disheartening. But I think I've just gotten back to it. I haven't sold anything in ages, and I don't care, because I'm just creating things, just trying to get on right now, especially just trying to hold things together and get through life and work, but not stress about my art, I think, because sometimes we do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think the fast pace, the demands of, you have to have it, do this by this point in time.
Yeah.
Have this much prepared. Like there's just so many different versions of that depending on what kind of creative thing we do.
True. And I'm lucky. I have a full-time job, or unlucky sometimes, but I have a full-time job. So my art right now is I'm doing it more for me. The local cat cafe, last time they still buying my cat toys. I haven't made any in a while, since before Christmas, but they still have a little bit of a stock because they've been shut down. But I was crocheting cat toys for them and sewing. So I sell them wholesale, and it's little things I can do. I'm just watching TV and get something done in a day. Those little projects that instant gratification, right? So I just crochet an eggplant or a donut and, feel good about it.
Well, that's
and I'm helping them. Yeah.
I think such an important piece, because I've talked to a lot of artists or makers, creators during this time who are having a really difficult time doing the thing they normally do as art. Even if it's not, maybe professional, or, the thing you do just because you enjoy it. And for whatever reason, it's really hard right now for a lot of people to focus on that and give all their energy. Someone did say cat toys. That is true.
Yeah. Tobin's Cat Cafe in Port Hope.
Say that one more time.
Tobin's Cat Cafe in Port Hope. I'll give them a shout out because they're wonderful. Yeah, it's a place near and dear to Emily's heart, for sure.
How could it not be, unless you have a horrible allergy? And I feel sorry for people who do. If I had to catch in Oshawa, I'd be there. Oh my goodness.
Maybe one day. Yeah, they work with Oshawa Animal Services a lot. They just got 3 new cats from there today, I think it was. Yeah, Oshawa Animal Services. So yeah, you gotta tune in for their live unboxing. It's the best unboxing on the internet,
And I'm
for real.
cats.
Yeah, people have like toy unboxing and hauls and all that weird stuff on YouTube. They have cat unboxings, and it doesn't get any better than that, for sure. Yeah.
Next time that's on, you let me know. Next time it happens, send me a
Yeah,
little
for sure.
community.
Yeah. If you like them on Facebook, then you'll see it. Yeah, it'll pop up in there.
Okay, like them on cat. You know what? For folks who are interested, I'll get Laura to send me the link, and I'll put it underneath the archive chat too, so we can tune in and
Yeah.
more about them. Because yeah,
Mhm.
I think making things as simple as that, like when we can't devote that same creative energy to what we would normally do because of this kind of quiet anxiety that's just always in the back of our brains these days, I think that's normal for everyone. Finding those little projects that can get you through, the little
Oh, for sure.
you can do just to kickstart that creativity and have, yeah, that satisfaction of being able to say, I did something.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it's the laundry, right? I was going to sit and fold laundry while I did this because there's times on Wednesdays I have folded laundry, just so you know.
I give folks permission to do that. That's
Yeah. But listening to you and watching you make your art, it really is inspiring, and relaxing. That's why the Zen Doodle again, is finding the right one, because some of them just have music, but some of them is just talking through it,
yeah.
and it's just very just to listen to someone talk. And that's why I really enjoy Wednesdays with you, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
thank you. I have to practice. Thank you. But
Yes.
I'll tell you, if I like what those live streams do for me is it gives me an excuse to sit down and create because
Hmm.
especially right now, I feel like if I didn't have those opportunities, if it wasn't built into my day, it
Hmm.
would be really hard to sit down and create because there's a lot of other things that seem to, there's just other work to do, there's other anxieties, there's a million other things that can rush in and fill that time if we don't make that time a priority for ourselves. Um,
Hmm.
so that's one of the reasons why I do it, because even if I'm sitting down and scribbling with crayons or collaging and thinking of you always, whenever I collage, I can't help but think of you. And well, we should talk about your collages, your fantastic collage.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it's like giving that time to myself. It keeps me accountable and it keeps me creative. Maybe I'm not creating the things that I would normally create or expressing myself in the way that is, that professional side of myself. But it keeps me, it's like a little bit of exercise, internal exercise to keep those parts of my heart and soul alive, right?
You
'Cause-
do. You need to keep going, through everything that we have. I think just find that time for sure.
yeah,
Hmm.
because yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, yeah, I find these days can be very exhausting, I think. This time can be very exhausting, and it's secretly exhausting because it creeps up on you if you're not careful. Yeah. What have you been doing anything else for creative self-care? Is there anything else that has been standing out to you as something you were mentioning, like fixing and doing things around the house creatively?
Yeah, learning to rewire lamps and things like that. That's the most recent projects. There's some new ceiling lights, and they're about 60 years old. So I took down the boob lights and took out the socket and put it into the old lights and got rid of the old sockets, and they're like new. And yeah, it's just accomplishing something like that felt really good. Electrical work, it's there, and it's about making your house a home as well, um, changing things up and making it your own, I think is important,
Can you
for
talk,
sure.
tell us
Hmm.
about that? Because that I feel like that is a completely creative endeavor as well that we may not that we sometimes overlook.
Hmm. There's a lot of um, beige and matching the art to the couch going on the last while. And I've found some Facebook groups that totally throw that away because there's so many creative people out in the world. You just have to find them
Mm.
and be inspired by them. That yeah, you don't have to just go buy a piece of art from a store. And that's why the local art, finding your local artists, I think is so important. It just adds that touch of whim. There's a lot of whimsy out there. There's a lot of things that are just so unusual and personal. You can
Mm.
find something that really, that makes you smile, not just is something on the wall. Um, Using color, using, a lot of vintage things as well. That's my own aesthetic. Doesn't have to be yours. Absolutely not. But for sure, if you have a new house, you can still put your own personal touch on it, I think. Um, you know, Pick your favorite color and go from there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of fear about looking, making the wrong choices, but well, you can always
Mhm.
paint over it. You can always
I know.
do something.
Don't worry about the sale. you know, Unless you only plan to stay there a little short while, but I don't plan on leaving here for a long time. And one day I can just paint it all white and put everything in storage and go from there. But in the meantime, love where you live, I think, it, you know, make it your own for sure.
Well, and like even if you can't paint a place, you were talking about
Mhm.
loving the sound of this room. Are you making like a record room?
Yeah, down in the rec room, the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my stereo down there now. My stereo upstairs, the turntable upstairs. My mom's listened to a lot of Anna Muscari and yeah, she'll sit there and read and listen to music all day.
Mm.
So I've got my rec room, and I want to paint and get rid of the floral wallpaper and cover it with old records. Some that I scored from the living room, and other ones I've just picked up in boxes and free piles. Just ones that aren't any good or are damaged and scratched. I'm not going to use anything good, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, I use them for record bowls as well. I don't know if you've seen those.
I
Those are fun to
so,
make.
and I don't
Yeah.
know how to make them, but I would love to learn.
Oh, easy. Yeah, you just put them in your oven, about 250, I think it is, and you put them in a stainless steel bowl.
And
Is the easiest way.
top or
And melt them.
just sort of like sit the records on top of the stainless steel bowl or over in an.
Oh, top or inside of it, either way, gets different effects. And they'll melt down. Use your oven mitts and carefully get them out. And before they cool off completely, you can shape them. Because sometimes they'll just melt in the bowl perfectly, and other times you can play with them a little bit and make um, different effects. Yeah,
So much.
it's super. Yeah,
Open a window
you
maybe, just for ventilation's sake.
yeah, they're a little. If you do a whole lot of them, it gets a little bit stinky, but yeah. Put a fan on, open the window, and yeah. But you can do it outside in the sun as well, and not use any energy. Just use the sun's energy on a hot day. Yeah, I know.
Future workshop for the mobile studio. Oh my goodness.
Perfect. Absolutely. On a hot day, for sure. Yeah. Make it happen.
Now,
Because we have lots of records.
I would be remiss if I didn't talk to you about your collages because some of my favorite works of art from you involve collage. And some of them are very fun and retro and cheeky and kind of like repurposing old magazines and
Mm-hmm.
playing with all those, like playing
Mm-hmm.
with different roles of like gender and things like that, the expectations of times gone by.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other uh, collages that are, just extraordinary explorations of shape and color and symbolism. Do you have any on hand you can show us? It's
I don't
okay if
think
you
so.
don't. It's okay.
No, like, not up here. They're all downstairs. But yeah, I just pull out the National Geographics and start tearing up pages that I'm drawn to. The colors and the paper cutters are really fun as well.
Mhm.
That's what I've posted pictures. People say, "Is that a quilt?" And it's like, no, it's paper squares all set together with. Sometimes I don't even look what's actually on it. It's just the shades, and you can just quilt with paper, which is really a lot of fun. Oh, I could sew them too. Oh, I just had another idea. See, that's how things happen, Mary. um, Quilting pieces of paper together. Oh my goodness, I might try that.
You,
That's my new thing that I've got to do now.
so you were
See?
mentioning sewing paper has become something that you've fallen in love with recently.
Yeah, I've I did it for we were making these little tickets, and so I sewed with no thread just to make perforations in the paper.
Mhm.
And then I can't remember what else. I sewed something else, but now these little books that Emily wants for her little friends on the bus, I sewed them together down the middle to make a little booklet, right?
Mhm.
But you could absolutely sew. Um,
Hello, Kat.
and I'll let you know. Hey, Jimmy. Um, yeah, I love going to a thrift store and finding the old magazines in the free pile usually, and um, I'll use boards that I'll find. You can collage on boards or the center of matting that gets cut out. I always find those at the living room. Those are great to use as well.
Yeah.
All of the ones I'm using now are the the plackets with they're boards with a picture stuck on it, inspirational sayings, and placket you need a picture put on.
Ye-
Yeah, that's Jimmy Kitty. Um, so they're great because you have to add a hook to the back or anything. They're ready to hang. That's what I used for um, the beach pottery piece I just finished. So
And it's true, repurposing surfaces like that, because there are a ton of
mhm,
those kind of things
so many things.
at the,
Record album covers are great too, to do collages on. So, and you can get it from anywhere. Like that's another great thing. Like quarantine art, old magazines that you've got laying around the house, or old books, picture books. Kids' picture books are fun too. You get some really fun images in there,
yeah.
and the pieces that you can just cut out and collage together with colors. But then it's also cutting out those little images is really meditative too. To cut out all those little shapes and then fit them together to make a scene, not just a quilt look, which is another technique that I use. Um, those are really good. You just need some glue and away you go. Mod Podge is great.
Yeah, like, but simple things, you don't need a whole lot to create something.
No, we don't. And it's really, it's just something I really enjoy. It's a puzzle. It's putting a puzzle together.
Mhm.
Loved puzzles when I was a kid too, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Well, perhaps that's a good place to begin, like a good way to begin wrapping up our chat. It's just talking a little bit, if you feel like it, about
Mhm.
what it means to be an artist to you, and what it gives you, what creativity gives you, but perhaps why, like for anyone who might be listening, who might be doubting or who might be struggling with their own creativity, um, like why it's important, why does it matter?
It it just gives you, I don't know, that's tough. I'm not sure what it is exactly, because it's always been a part of what I've done.
Mhm.
And I find there's been times in my life when I haven't made anything. I have been off on another part of my life and where I haven't picked up a pencil to doodle or done any sewing or anything like that, or collage. And yeah, like I went through in my 20s, went through a phase of like craftiness, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Um, and then it all got packed away for a while. And after I had Emily, that was when I found that I had the time to do it again and got back into it and realized how much I'd missed it and how much, like, just to get those ideas out and in your head, like those thoughts down onto paper sometimes. I find a lot of artists I know, like, it's who you are. It's, I don't know, I'm stumbling here.
Mm.
But yeah, to get your thoughts onto paper and your heart and all those ideas that you have in your head and to share them with people, for sure. Or not.
It's a personal thing,
Mhm,
but I think
mhm, for sure.
it's such an important part of our lives. And when I hear, like, what I think something about the way you live, which I think sounds like it's always been a part of your life. But even though just certain times and certain events have happened that have kind of, you've had to step away, or you've kind of stepped away just because of life, because you're dealing with something else that's going on, it's never been very far away from you. You've always seemed to have lived in a place of creative play, you know,
Hmm.
that that spark is so much alive in you that it's been tended to for so long that even when things get difficult and you need to take a break,
Mhm.
it's still there and you can go back to it.
It's
Uh,
about fun. It really is. Art is about having fun and just relaxing and not being so serious, I think.
mhm.
That's the way I look at it, at least. There's, you know, when I try to do serious art, it's always a little scary. And I started doing it at the living room, actually. It was like, you know, some of those first pieces that I made, I'm like, wow, this isn't just something for fun. Had a little more meaning behind it, and a little more thought, and things from my past really came up.
Mm.
Yeah, it's amazing how art can bring out your emotions without you even realizing where it's coming from, and all of a sudden there it is. Well, oh, well, that was repressed.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, oh, mhm,
Sometimes
it's true.
stories need to be told, but they take their time,
Mhm,
you know,
for sure.
they
Yeah.
take their time to emerge when you're a little bit more ready. And art
Mhm,
is always such a helpful way of communicating those stories with the world.
mhm,
You know, it's funny,
yeah.
it's creative play. You're right. Like the art we do for play and fun and just for ourselves may not necessarily be the serious work we want to share with
Mhm,
the world, but it's really
mhm,
important because it feeds us. And without that creative play, I don't think we can ever get to the serious play of doing the things that are more professional for ourselves. I think if
mhm,
you only do one, the other suffers. You need a little bit of both to survive, but without that
mhm,
absolute joy, play, creative
mhm.
fun just because you can.
Exactly. You have to enjoy yourself for
Yeah,
sure.
I think
Yeah, yeah, it's like therapy for sure.
yeah, I think the other stuff suffers.
Mhm.
So I love that yeah.
Mhm.
Well, perhaps we'll be seeing a workshop. Maybe there'll be time for another collage workshop, a little Thursday night art jam collage with Laura.
That'd be good. It'll be good. Now that I know my camera works, my Instagram, I don't know what happened last time, but it's working now. So yay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been such a pleasure
Mhm.
talking to you. Any last minute
Too.
that you want to give the community or any artists out there that you love?
Just love to everybody out here, especially everybody in Oshawa and here in Port Hope. There's yeah, getting involved with a lot of people out here too has kept me going. I don't know what I would have done without it. So they all know. They all know me. And they know who they are. So yeah, and thanks to you. And I really wish the best for the future of the living room. And you got to get out here once you're on wheels.
Nothing will stop us. Nothing will.
Yeah, you get to meet everybody. It'll
Yeah,
be good. Yeah,
so exciting.
keep going.
Lots of wonderful
Hmm.
ahead.
Go make something.
Well, thank
Go
you
make
so
something.
much. Thank you so much, Laura, for being here and being our guest today.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. It was, yeah, not quite as scary as I thought it was going to be. I was never, yeah, to stand in front of people, but yeah, I'd rather sit beside somebody and work on something with them. But this was good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for everybody for listening in.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk again soon. We'll figure out something fun to do with you online too. Okay.
For sure, for sure. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, how delightful. What a wonderful little ray of sunshine on a snowy gray day, at least for us here in Oshawa. I want to say another huge thank you to Laura Brown by LB for joining us for our live stream artist chat. And you heard Laura, it's not that scary. If you are an artist or a maker out there doing something creative and engaging or just like living your creative life and making a difference that way, please give me a call, let me know, and let's have a chat. Let's do a live stream. And in the meantime, please continue creating and taking care of yourself. And remember to make time in your day for that sense of play and joy, because creativity is a human birthright. It's one of the reasons why we're here. Even if you don't do it for like any kind of professional big way, do a little bit of it for yourself every day, just to remind yourself that you're here and your voice matters. Okay? Take care, everyone. And until we can connect and create with one another again in person, I look forward to connecting and creating with you right here online. Bye, everybody.